up, Fallible Nation? It's another Fallible Nation Live Monday, guys. I am so excited to be here with you guys. You guys always make my Mondays so special. I am so just grateful to spend time with you. Hey, tonight I've got an incredible show for you. And guess what? We're broadening our horizons. We're not only going live to Facebook and YouTube, we're live on LinkedIn tonight. I'm very excited about that. So welcome to our LinkedIn crowd. It's awesome to have you with us. And we hope you are enjoying or will enjoy getting to know us here at Fallible Nation. We love hanging out with you guys on Mondays. Guys, why do people struggle so hard with making positive change in their life? Why does do bad English tonight? Sorry, guys. Every year, the resolution crowd takes a beating as the majority of them come up short. It's pretty much expected at this point, so no one thinks much about it. But how come everyday people like you and me struggle with just small improvements to our lives? Health goals like becoming more active, going to the gym, losing weight, learning goals, job performance goals. The simple truth is, even with well-laid plans, a lot of us are setting ourselves up for failure because we don't understand what's required for us to make big changes effectively and permanently in our lives. People spending years trying to diet and coming up short over and over and over again. Time to change all that, guys. We have been setting you up for success since the first of the year. I didn't actually mean to create a series, but we've kind of been building a series to help you be successful this year in 2023. Not a New Year's resolution kind of thing, but just a really base plan, simple, easy to follow, and effective for helping you reach your goals, guys. And this is going to be the last piece of it that you really need to get into. So without further ado, let's get into it. Now, guys, wherever you're watching from, whether you're joining us from LinkedIn for the very first time, are part of the nation from Facebook or YouTube, whatever your platform, be sure, let us know you're here. I can read all the comments. You guys may not see all the comments jumping between the multiple platforms, but I actually do. So let us know you're here. Shout out, tell us you're visiting, introduce yourself, and become part of the nation. It's a lot of fun. I love the comment section. It actually gets distracting sometimes just because I enjoy watching our listeners interact and support each other. So if you're not seeing a lot of chat and maybe you're on LinkedIn, you can catch us on YouTube and Facebook as well. There's generally more conversation going in on the YouTube side of the house. Also, if you want to join us for the Q&A portion of the show, you can join us either live on air, or you can submit a question in the comment section, just put a QQ in front of it, or with the same form that will let you join us live on air and get you an invitation there, you can also put a question in to make sure that it gets answered in case you're not going to be with us the entire time. So whatever platform you're on, it should be down under this video. Be sure and fill that out if you want to join us live on air for your question, or if you just want to make sure your question gets answered. Those go straight to my inbox, so I make sure and answer those in the show. Now, without going too much longer, let's get into this show, okay? Most people fail at their attempts because they try to white knuckle it through everything, right? And even when you have a great plan that's not going to work for you, to white knuckle your way through it. You can have SMART goals, which we talk about a lot on this channel. You can have a well-laid plan. Your mind is just far too complex for the nonsense of just trying to dig through it and white knuckle your way through anything like that. In fact, it doesn't work. That's why most people fail, right? Most people tank at diets because they force themselves through, and they fail over and over because they're just grit their teeth. They're like, oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to survive, and I'm going to be good at this, and I'm going to lose that weight finally. That's not a successful approach. Okay. You're fighting a biological supercomputer complete with light speed inputs and neurochemical feedback loops. You'll lose even if you put up a valiant fight. Your brain is just wired too effectively for that. No matter how you determine you're fighting out of your league, it just doesn't matter. White knuckling it will never actually take you all the way. It can get you a long ways. I'm all about grit and determination. It can get you a long way, but it will not end in utter success if you try and just bulldoze your way through it. It doesn't work like that. The cardinal rule of behavioral change is what is rewarded is repeated, and what is punished is avoided. You'll learn what to do in the future based on what you were rewarded for doing or punished for doing in the past. Your brain hardwires itself automatically in real time based on those feedback loops going on in your body. So that's why white knuckling it doesn't succeed, right? No matter how hard and determined you are at going at this and succeeding at it, the negative experience with it is just hardwiring your system to be like, nah, nope, thanks. Nope, I'm good. Don't want it. Not going to do it. Can't stick with it. You're literally fighting with yourself. The mind and the body are wired with a specific input formula that's extraordinarily effective and actually, thankfully, fairly simple. So you just have to learn to utilize that formula. And that's what we're going to do tonight. This isn't rocket science. You guys are incredible. And so we're going to breeze through this pretty quick. Be sure and jump in the comments. I see Shirley's joining us. Good to see you tonight, Shirley. Thanks for joining us. And guys, just let us know you're here. We love to talk to you guys. It makes the show so much better when I'm not just talking to me, but when I actually get to interact with you guys and hang out. It makes the show a lot more fun. Now, let's take up some examples, okay? Everything works in a specific loop. Now, James Clear wrote an incredible book called Atomic Habits that it's on the bookshelf on my website, guys, www.thefallibleman.com/library, because I highly recommend it. I've read it. It's an incredible book, and he goes into depth. I can't spend justice on this, on these particular phases, and goes into a real deep dive, but I'm going to go light over it, because with everything when it comes to change, there is something called the 4 laws of behavioral change. And no, these aren't just James Clear's 4 laws of behavioral change. This is actually psychological facts. I've dove into this in some of my training as a trainer. I've actually have worked on my behavioral change certification. So this is a universal thing. It's called the 4 laws of behavioral change. Now, in everything, there's a cue, there's a craving, there's a response, and there's a reward, right? It's a cycle that every decision that you go through hits. Let me give you examples to make that make sense, okay? So, cue, right? Your phone buzzes with a new text message. The craving is you want to learn what that message says. So your response is you grab your phone and you read the text. The reward is you're satisfying your cravings to read the message by grabbing the phone, becomes associated with phone buzzing, right? So you're relieved. Oh, good. Now I know what that says, right? That actually is a satisfaction that actually releases chemicals in your brain that goes, that felt good. So your brain starts to associate pleasure with picking up your phone and responding to your phone setting off an alert, right? I'll give you another example. You hit a stumbling block on a project at work, right? You're at work and you're working on something and you're just like, so frustrated. And you feel stuck and want to relieve that frustration, right? That's the urge. I want to relieve this frustration. So you pull out your cell phone and you start scrolling through the social media. And after a few minutes, you're feeling a little better, right? You're like, okay, I distracted myself from the problem for a minute. And now I'm feeling better. So the reward is you satisfy your craving to feel relieved by checking social media. And then checking social media becomes associated with feeling stalled at work, right? You now associated social media and being blocked at work. It's a really weird cycle, but it works. Rinse and repeat over and over and over again. I promise it works every time. Now, this is the science behind behavioral change. Once you understand that science, you can just plow forward with making your changes, right? We already know we got to make SMART goals. We already know how to break it down into quarterly, like focus groups. 1 year goes to 6 months, goes to 4 quarters, down to months, down to weeks, right? We've been through all this so far in the last couple weeks, but this is what you need to hang on to. Okay. The 4 laws of behavioral change are a simple set of rules that can be used to build habits that create lasting and effective change. Big changes are the results of small, effective habit changes that stack together to create massive, life altering improvement. People don't fail at big things. Okay. A ship never sank because all of a sudden it just had this massive and everything just fell apart. That's not even the Titanic. That's not how it happened. Okay. Things don't just fall apart at a massive level. Structures don't collapse because of one massive thing. Structures collapse because of a lot of little things that got missed or weren't done well, or that have eroded or aged or haven't been cared for. Marriages erode because of that, right? Careers erode because of little things. Friendships erode. Are you tracking with me? Does this make sense to everybody? People don't fail at big things. They trip over little steps that create big reactions. So to fix this, right, to be successful at our goals, we have to stack a bunch of new little changes. Well, to successfully add all these new little changes, we have to go through this because our brain's going to go through this pattern anyway. So we have to understand this pattern and we have to apply it in a positive direction to get it going. So first thing, and I'm sorry guys, I didn't put bullet points in tonight. This is entirely my fault. Sarah, this first thing Sarah said when she logged on was like, where's the bullet points? And I went, so Sarah had you guys covered. I came up short on this one tonight. It's my bad. So the cue, right? If you want to add a new habit to help you become more successful, if you want to add a new step or a new piece, right, to add to that bigger goal, you're going to have to develop lots of little strips, right? We go back to the diet example. If you want to be healthier, if you want to control your diet and lose weight, it's not one quarter pounder or a couple bites of ice cream. It's we break habits or we don't create new habits that help us follow those steps or follow those goals. So if you want to add something, if you want to change something in a positive, you have to start with making it obvious. Let me give you an example. If you want to be more of a reader, say you want to read this more year. I was talking to my buddy Michael earlier, and Michael has a goal of reading more this year. In fact, he wants to double the amount of time he spends reading every day because he wants to read more books. It's a great, great thing. You know, I'm a big fan of reading here. I love Audible as well. And so if you want to read more, the simplest thing to start with is you have to make it easy, make it obvious. Put your book you're reading in your favorite chair. Put it on top of your pillow. Put it right next to your computer. Put it where you are, where you're going to be. Look at what your day looks like. Look at the structure of your day. And if you want to read more, then put that book right there. Okay. Make it obvious. Like, oh, hey, I wanted to read more. There's my book, right? That's a really easy one. If you want to get better at doing pull-ups, honestly, I could do way more pull-ups when I had a pull-up bar on my back deck. I had to tear it down for something else, but I could do way more pull-ups when I had a pull-up bar on my back deck because every time I walked by it, man, I just grabbed the pull-up bar and did a couple pull-ups, right? It was obvious. It was readily available. It was easy to get to. I didn't have to go anywhere. I happened to step out on my back porch. It's like, oh, look, pull-up bar. Get a couple reps, right? I could do way more pull-ups because I did it because that desire to do it was there. It was like, oh, look, there's a pull-up bar. I should do pull-ups. Oh, look, it's right there. I know I got another guy who's got one of those that you can hook on the frame in your house. And every time he walked past that door, he just busted out like 3 or 4 pull-ups and went on with his day. And he'd do that, multiple times a day. Got really good at doing pull-ups. I wouldn't do that in my house because I'm pretty sure it'd rip my door down. But, I had mine on my back deck. Make it obvious. Put it in your path daily. I'm beating this one to death because this really is a simple process But most people fail at these processes because they overcomplicate it, or it's too simple and they think there has to be more. The second step of this is making it attractive, make it desirable. This is really hard because a lot of things that are good for you, a lot of things that are beneficial for you, the payoff is an overtime thing. It's not an immediate response, right? We don't get that dopamine hit, right? All of you guys are on the internet these days. You hear people talk about dopamine hit, right? Everything's got a dopamine hit. Social media's got dopamine hits, right? Soda, caffeine, sugar, blah, 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 right? There's some logic and reason behind some of that. But the things that are usually better for us, like reading more or eating a healthier diet or getting more exercise, working out more, studying to be better at what we do or to learn a new business or a new skill, right? Those things are hard to desire because they're long-term payoffs. There's no immediate response. So you have to work really hard to make this new habit desirable. Hey, Jess, I see you jumping in there too. Good to have you tonight. We're on 3 platforms tonight, guys. Be sure and sound off in the comments. Let us know you're here. I love hanging out with you guys, and it's so much fun as everybody in the community starts gathering around and having conversations and being part of the show. So shout out, let us know you're here tonight. We'd love to have you in the conversation. It's really hard to make these positive things attractive, but that's exactly what you have to do. So if you want to make that new diet something you're going to stick to, you have to make it attractive to you. You have to make it desirable in your eyes. You have to figure out a way that it looks good. And some people do that by putting pictures of what they think they're going to look like or what their goal to look like is, right? Some people do that by putting up pictures of their, dream office if they're trying to grow in that way. Some people do it by, listing what they get, right? By looking forward at the reward if they follow this thing. You have to make it desirable or you're not going to do it. If you don't want to do it, this is where white knuckling fails people over and over and over again. This is what I said. You just sabotage yourself because white knuckling it will not make you want to do it. It just doesn't work that way. You can't do it. You have to induce a desire to do so. And if you don't, you're not gonna follow through. You have to build in that desire. The third part of this is you have to make it easy. And this goes back to that first comment of make it obvious, right? Not only was the book obvious, it's like, oh, look, it's right there on my pillow. It's also easy because it's right there on my pillow. It's literally right in front of me, right? You can't lose if that's what you do. You have to make it simple, readily available, right? That's what I was saying about the pull-up bar. Not only did I see that pull-up bar and I was like, oh, that's staring me in the face. I made it easy because it was right there on the outside of my door. I go out on my back deck all the time. I like fresh air. It was right there, man. Like literally I put it right outside the door. So I stepped out and as soon as I stepped away from the door, it was like right there. I made it really obvious. I could see it from my back door. I saw it every time I walked by and I made it easy because I didn't have to go anywhere. It was right there. If you want to make your diet successful, you have to desire to follow this idea and you have to make it simple. You have to simplify it down. This is where things like meal prepping or meal supply companies come in really handy. Very effective ways to pre-cook food so you don't have to think about it. So you can just focus on doing what you're doing. This is, I want to improve my relationship. Okay, well, how do I make that easy? Well, I have a relationship book or I have a relationship videos I want to go through, right? I make them readily available. I put them in my path. So I see them. I put them where they're easy to get to, where they're easy to take advantage of. I make it as simple as possible. I want to study on that diet. You want to know the key to making a diet simple? Get rid of all the other crap in your house. If you want to eat healthier food, just don't bring non-healthy food into your house. When healthy food's all you got, it makes it a whole lot easier to stay on that diet, right? Now, for any of you with kids, I have 2. I understand how asinine that sounds. My house is a virtual landmine of unhealthy foods, kid friendly foods. So I absolutely understand that that is harder for some people than others. Oh, Michael's jumping in. Good to see you, Michael. So I get how that you're like, yeah, no, it's in that example. I know that one's much harder if you have little ones running around the house than if you don't. But once they cross a certain age, you're good, right? Once they cross a certain age, you're just like, be healthy, suck it up, man. When they're little, you can't really do that. Number 4, you have to make it satisfying. And this is the other problem we run into with healthier or smarter options, right? When we're trying to grow ourselves as a person, we're trying to pick up new skills, we're trying to learn new things, we're trying to pick up better habits, whether it's for our mind, for our body, for our soul. We're trying to pick up better things for us. A lot of those things have that long play reward, right? This isn't something that's going to make me feel good now. Eating the donut. Today is my daughter's birthday, my oldest daughter. And this morning I bought her, our bakery has something called a Texas sized donut. And that sucker is like this big. It's huge. And I bought her a Texas sized donut because it was her birthday. And, eating that donut, taking a bite of that donut, that is instantly satisfying. Unfortunately, a lot of the unhealthy choices, right? Whether that's sleeping in late instead of getting up and doing the stuff you need to, or eating bad, or Netflix and chill, or scrolling through social media, those have instant rewards. And that's why it's so easy for us to get into bad habits, because there's that instant gratification. For some of them, it's an instant dopamine hit from sugar or from the other reward centers in our brain. But there's that instant gratification, that instant feedback that goes, hey, this is good. I told you, you're fighting a neurofeedback loop, right? Our body goes, hey, this is good. I like this. Boop, check mark. Hey, this is it. Okay, I remember this. I associate this, and drives us back towards that behavior. Making better choices in your life are harder because they're long-term gains usually. So you have to find a way to make whatever you're trying to do have a reward. And you can't do this. Please don't make this mistake. Don't do these crappy cheat meals. You are not The Rock. I am not The Rock. I cannot eat healthy for a week and then eat enough junk food for 3 people and be like, I'm still good. It's not how it works for the majority of people. But you have to find a way that following that new goal is encouraging, it's rewarding to you. So you have to learn to measure that and go, okay, how do I make reading more fun? I reward myself with going to the bookstore. I like going to physical bookstores. I love Barnes and Noble. I don't love them as a company necessarily, but I love that they still have giant bookstores. I wish we still had giant bookstores everywhere. But I like going to Barnes and Noble. So maybe that would be, hey, I read regularly. And when I finish this book, I'm going to go to Barnes and Noble and get some coffee and walk around and find the next book that I'm going to fall in love with. Right? That's a reward. I look forward to that. It makes it desirable. Is everybody track with me? I told you guys, this is a really simple concept. Somehow we just all screwed up really bad most of the time. So the opposite is true as well. Okay. If you want to break bad habits, then you just go the opposite route, right? If you're trying to have less junk food in your diet, less, right, ice cream, less cookies, less sweet, stuff like that, make it invisible. If you don't see it, you're less triggered. If you don't taste it regularly, it doesn't actually take long before you're less triggered. I've been on a diet recently, realized I've been putting on a little more weight than I wanted to with all the time I've been spending behind a computer. And so I've been on a pretty strict diet for the last week and a half or so. I had a brownie, a small little brownie the other day. My grandmother's recipe of brownie. And you know what? It didn't taste good because I've been eating healthy food for long enough and I've done enough diets in my life. My body converts over pretty quickly that my grandmother's brownie didn't taste good to me. Right? Which helped get rid of the craving. That helped deal with the second step of it. But the first step is just getting it out of my house, making it unavailable, making it invisible, making it where I don't run into it all the time. Making sure I'm prepared so I don't stop at the gas station, right? That's how you get out of stuff. If you start to make it invisible, then you make it unattractive. You make it where it doesn't have, you almost have to train yourself to have a negative response to it, where it doesn't have that, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. Oh, I'm drawn to this, right? You have to deal with the craving. And that's a really hard part to deal with. I'll be the first to admit that. But you have to make it unattractive. Then make it difficult. Put it as far away as possible. If you don't have to like crawl across a bed of glass butt naked to get to it, then you're not making it hard enough, man. I'm serious. Like, make it stupidly hard. One of the things you can count on as a human being is human beings are, in this modern era, are instinctively lazy. We are used to quick, immediate gratification. We are used to having things at our fingertips. We are used to instant wins. So make it hard. You will absolutely start to derail your bad habits if you make it hard to have that habit. I was a smoker for years, and I smoked less when I had to not only go outside at work, right? No smoking room or anything. I smoked less. You're welcome for that, Michael. Michael says, I can't unsee that visual. Well, pleasant dreams and all. I like to make sure you guys understand this clearly in your head. But one of the things that made it actually more effective for me was the site I worked at. Not only was there not like a smoking room in the building, which they outlawed years ago, but the smoking area wasn't right outside the business. Like some places I've been on that site, there was no smoking on that site. So I literally had to walk out of my office, walk outside, and we had a big perimeter around our facility. So I had to walk out of our building, off the property, out the man gates, and be out by the road, way, way away from the building to have a cigarette. It was a lot easier to be like, man, I got 15 minutes. It's going to take me, and I could tell you, it took me 7.5 minutes to smoke a cigarette back then. It's going to take me 4 minutes to 6 minutes to walk outside. I'm going to choke down my cigarette at light speed, and I'm going to walk back to my desk. And I've got no time to get coffee or anything else. It made it more difficult, which blessedly for me made it easier to quit smoking. Then you got to make it unsatisfied, right? Sometimes we like to jump straight to this point and try and just like douse whatever we like to do in negativity. I've seen people like switch to some brand of cigarette that they hate to try and lower their craving. I've seen people who will pour salt or like chili powder or hot sauce onto a food that they're craving is sweet, just to make it less desirable. I've seen people throw stuff in the trash, but we're not always dealing with food, right? Sometimes we're just dealing with habits. How do we make those habits unsatisfying? You have to take away the reward, which is really difficult for some things because we live in a time of instant gratification. Now, guys, I'm not going to deep dive on these because I can't do them the justice of the resource I was sending you to. That's an overview of how this works. This is the secret behind how to make your SMART goals work, right? Because all of your goals you're aiming for are a combination of little habits, little success habits put together to culminate in a bigger thing. That's what it is. It's little pieces. It's not one big thing. You're not just going to the gym and trying to get in shape, right? You have to get ready, get dressed, get out of bed, whatever you have to do, get in your car, drive across town, go into the gym, put your stuff down, figure out what you actually want to do if you don't have a plan, or what machine you want, or wait for somebody else to get off it. You have to put it, rack the weights, unrack the weights, get on the machine, whatever, right? It's a whole process. Most people are turned off before they ever get there because they don't want to go away and do that because it's time consuming, right? And we value our time. This is how you effectively do it. You build one habit at a time and you make it obvious. You make it desirable to you. You make it really easy to do. And then you reward yourself in a positive, net positive way, not a junk way. That is how you build one habit at a time. Now, building those single habits is how you're going to accomplish your single SMART goal. Accomplishing that single SMART goal is how you combine it with that next SMART goal. And all of a sudden, you're building wins on top of wins. But we have to get down to this singular level and get this under control. Understand this process. This is how your brain works. This is what happens every time. When you walk into a room, right? You walk into a room, the room is dark. You want it to be light. I reach over, I flip on the light switch. I'm instantly rewarded because the room is now light, and that is what I wanted. So I put together turning on the light with being pleased and content, right? That's literally the process simplified. That is how you build successful new habits to create a pathway to build successful goal, to complete successful goals, to add new things, new positive things to your life, and how you get out of the bad ones. Guys, I hope that makes sense. I'm not seeing any questions pop up, so I'm going to assume that's making some kind of sense to somebody since nobody's asking any questions. If you're new with us on LinkedIn, I'm glad you're here tonight, guys. That is a big part of the show, is asking those questions. If you got questions, the goal of this show is to help come alongside you and answer those questions, give you a place to talk about it, give you a place to explore the possibility, and give you pieces and tools to help you be more successful in the life that you want to live, whether that's in a relationship, whether that's in your professional world, whether that's with your kids. That's what we're here to do, guys. If you got something out of this tonight, be sure and share this with a friend. And hey, check it out. The Phoenix Conference, our in-person and virtual event, is like 31 days away. I am so excited about this year's conference. We have incredible speakers from around the world, and we are going to help you work on isolating what is my purpose and how do I use it effectively. I can't wait to meet a lot of you guys live or virtual at the event. We've got a great show for you with incredible speakers, a lot of fun things. Connect with other men. It's going to be really cool. Michael and Melissa are going to join us. Well, at least Michael's going to join us. I don't know if Melissa's joining us. She may come hang out with Sarah. I don't know. But guys, we're going to have an incredible event. Whether you join us virtually or in person, I promise you, you will not walk away from this event the same. We've done it before, different topic, and people are still talking about it. I promise you're going to have an incredible event, and I can't wait to meet you. As always, guys, be better tomorrow because of what you do today, and we'll see you on the next one.